So, hi guys, welcome back to Osego Codes. My name is Osego, and I'm glad you're coming back to watch another content that we have for you for this episode. So, today we're going to do something different in that we are going to see how you can actually move from localhost, how you can move from localhost all the way to having your application hosted somewhere, either in the cloud or physical servers. So most often, like when you send an application for a job or any open account somewhere, you need to have a proof that you understand or you have sample project that you've built before. And the only way through which someone can assess this is you having your application hosted somewhere, be it cloud, be it any server, as long as it's hosted somewhere, you need to have it there so that just with the click of a link, someone can be able to access your project or your sample work that you've done before. Now, if you have an application, like we now have an application which we previously built, which was an Express code application that basically allows you to create, read, update, and delete documents from a database, then the next step that you want to ensure is that you want to have this application hosted somewhere. And that is what today I'm going to show you, how you can host your application on a cloud platform. Now, when we talk of cloud, what you should be thinking of is cloud computing. Now, cloud computing is basically a technology that leverages internet to offer computing services, which include compute engine, servers, virtual machines, storage, networks, and just a number of services which can be offered through cloud. And today, we are going to use Azure to host our application. Now, Azure is a cloud service provider which is owned by Microsoft. And that is what we're going to use today to ensure that our local API can be accessible over the internet after deploying it to the cloud. Now, when we talk of Azure, Azure has a number of resources which are provided. We have sources like web applications, app services, static web apps. We have databases, things like Cosmos DB. We have what we call storage. We have what else do we have? Compute engines. We have virtual machines, and just many more services. Now, if it's an API, like in this case, we want to deploy an Express API, you are going to choose something like a web app or an app service. Now, a web app is a service in Azure that allows you to deploy your full stack applications or API services to the cloud. And that is what we're going to use today. So basically, we're going to ensure that we deploy another application to a web app resource on the cloud, specifically on Azure. Now, before we do this, on Azure, you will need to have a subscription and an account. Definitely, you need an account to access Azure. Now, if you don't have an account, it's simple. You simply go to the Azure portal and create an account. Now, after creating an account with your details, of course, the email and the password, you will now need to have a subscription. A subscription is what will now enable you to use those resources on the cloud. Now, if you have the money, you can actually buy the subscription. But also, if you're a student, you can choose to use the Azure for Students account, which gives you, I think, $100 credit for free and also free access to over 20 Azure resources. Now, once you have your account, then because we're deploying an app service or an API, usually Azure deploys other services or resources in the background alongside what you've deployed. So in this case, the first thing to ensure that we have everything organized together for our app service, you need to create a resource group. Now, a resource group is just a logical container for organizing all your resources that are used together. For example, when we deploy our API, we might have things like the log insights, application insights. Maybe you have databases, you have the front end there, which you will deploy later using the static web app. Now, all these resources that work together for our application, they should be organized logically under a resource group. Now, having them under resource group will also enable you to manage them efficiently. For example, if you want to delete all resources related to that application, you will just delete the resource group and it will delete all the members of that resource group. So once you create a resource group, you will now create the resource, which is now, or the surface, which is now the web app. Now on the web app, you will need to select your resource group, the subscription that you are using, the region, the runtime stack, whether it is a Node application, Java, Node or Python or PHP or Java. Whichever application you are deploying, you will pick the run stack. And then also you will choose the operating platform, whether it is Linux or what we call Windows. Also, you need to choose how you deploying your application. Is it a code or a containerized application or something else? Something that you also need to specify is the app service plan. And now to talk more on the region for your application, it is advisable that always choose a region that is close to where most of the users are. This will help in reducing the latency for your application. Now, for example, I'm in Kenya. So in this case, I will choose something like Africa. So we have a data center in South Africa. So choose that. And then, of course, you just let the Azure validate all your settings, and then you can create your application. From there on, I will show you how to connect it to your source code so that it can be deployed. So at the end of this video, you shall have deployed your application from localhost all the way to Azure, and you will be able to access it using a link. So if this is something that sounds interesting to you, then why not? Let's do it. Okay, so hi guys, welcome back to this video where we are going to deploy another application or express application to Azure. So to deploy an application, you must first have the application ready. So I have the application ready. Remember in the last video, we actually did build an express API and we tested it and it was okay. So for the last time, we can actually just test it once again. So let's clear the terminal. Then I'll zoom in. So we can test our application by running pnpm run dev. So let's see, app listening on port 8080. So let's test that in our browser by visiting localhost 8080, hello from the server end, which is a message coming from our server on line number 20. When we hit the root, we return this message, hello from the server end, and also a log message. This is the message from the server, which is of course here. This is the message from the server, which means our application is up and running. Now, this script is for running this application on the dev environment, or what we call the development environment. Now, when you move to a production environment, that want to work, so we'll use the default node script, which is here, start. So you will do and pnpm run start. So app is listening on port 8080. Still, if you go back to our browser to confirm that, just refresh because the port is the same thing that we get back from the server. So once that is confirmed, the next thing you can just now stop the server from running. The next thing you want to do is to ensure that your application is pushed to GitHub repository. So I won't bore you with that because I've already pushed mine to GitHub. So to confirm that, just type git remote version. So you see I have my application on YouTube -vid repository on the GitHub. So to show you that I have it, I'll come to my browser and then I'll just GitHub, open that. Then it's named YouTube vid. So once my GitHub loads, I'll search for it and show you GitHub vid. So it's YouTube vid. Let's type and the repos here, YouTube vid. Click on that. Now you see I have my code pushed here and everything. So remember, always you don't push your key file here. This file won't be committed or tracked, and then Remember to create a .env.example file that will help someone who clones your application to know what keys that he needs to supply to your application to get it running. Then you can ignore the env file and add modules package on your git ignore file. Everything git should ignore is listed here. Now, what do you need to do? You now need to log into your Azure account. Click on Azure. Then we want to create what we call a resource group. Like I mentioned earlier, resource group will enable you to logically arrange your resources in Azure. So the resources that are used together, for example, if you deploy a web app, you have insights and the logs, all of them should be under a resource group, just a logical container for organizing your resources. So sign in. So to sign in, you need an Azure account. If you don't have one, you can create one. Of course, it's a free trial version. Or if you're a student, you can register for the Azure for Students account that will give you $100 credit and also access to over 20 cloud resources for free. And then after which you need subscription, you can either choose to buy. Now, if you click on the notifications icon here, you can see the number of credits you have remaining. And in my case, I have $123.73 credits remaining. Now, like I mentioned, we are going to create a resource group. Click on resource group. Resource group is the logical organization of your resources. So just click on create. Then just give it a name. In this case, I'll just name it tutorials. And then the region, you can leave it as default, is okay. Then just if you want to create, it will validate your resource. If it's passed, you see this check mark here, validation passed. Then after which, what next? Click on create to now create your resource group. Now you'll give it time to create. Resource group created. So on the top right, click on go to resource group. Now it is inside this resource group named tutorials that we are now going to create our web app resource. Okay. Now once you are here, just click on create. Click on create, then it will give you a list of all the resources that you can provision using Azure or all the services that Azure provides. So you can search it here, or if you see it, just click on it. In this case, there's web app here. If you don't see the web app, you can just search web app, press enter, and it will load the results that matches your search criteria. So we have web app as the first option here. Click on web app. Once you click on web app, give it time. Then once it's loaded, what else do you need to do? Click on create. It is loading, it's creating. Now you'll have this form that you need to fill information that is related to your web app. Now remember, you need a subscription, our Visual Studio Enterprise subscription. Then this group, remember, is tutorials that we created. The name, let's call it now the web app. Now the web app name. This scale, what do we call it? Tutorial video. Tutorial video. And remember, your name must be unique across. Okay, if it's not unique, you will get an error and you won't be able to proceed. Now, publish. What do you want to publish? Do you want to publish a code, a container, or a static web app? A code is a code, for example, is something that you have on GitHub. A container, if you have a Dockerized or containerized application, either using Docker or Kubernetes. And static web app is if you want to deploy something that is in the front end that doesn't have a server, something like a Vue application, React application, or any other framework. That is a static web app, which also entails what we call HTML, CSS, JavaScript files. Then runtime stack. This is the stack that your application is using. Now remember it's another application. Remember it is another application. Now in that case, we want to use Node, and I'm choosing the latest version, which is the long-time support version. Then the system I want to use is Linux. The region, I want to choose a region that is close to me. So I'll search for anything that is Africa.
So South Africa North, that will work for me. Then the last plan, you can choose to leave it as default. It does no harm. Once that is done, you should review and create. So if everything is okay, it will give you the permission to go ahead and create your resource. So it's loading, it's validating here. So you gotta give it time. Now, if it's okay, everything is okay, it will give you this button down here to click and create. Now, checking on the top right, it is initializing our deployment. So you have to give it time. Give it time to initialize our deployment. Mhm. Of course, you can check the progress by clicking up here. This is a notification icon. If you click on that, you'll see the progress. So let's do that. Now you see deployment and progress. At first we had a group created, and now we are on deployment, which is in progress. Uh-huh. Mhm. So you have to be patient, give it time. Now your patience will be dictated by your internet connectivity. If it is strong, you won't wait for long. If it is weak like mine, you have to wait. Yeah, but of course, good things come to those who wait. So there's no harm in waiting. So I'll just cut the video to make it. So deployment succeeded. So once it succeeded, what you do next, you click on go to resource. So on resource here now you will be able to see all the information that pertains to the resource or service that you created on Azure. So once you are here, you can see you have the resource group name, is tutorials, the default domain. Now this is the URL that you will use to access your API. And then subscription name is also there. Your app service plan there, the operating system that you chose, which is Linux, and it's there. Then now, at this moment, we don't have our code connected to this service or this resource. Now, the next thing that we want to do is to now connect our code to this resource here. Now, to do this, on your left pane here, you have a number of options from activity log, diagnose and solve problems, events, log streams, deployment. Now, I'm interested in deployment. Now, under deployment, click on deployment center. Click on deployment center. So deployment center here is where you choose the source of your application. Now, select the source code. Where are we getting our code? From GitHub, okay? Next, if your GitHub is not signed in already, you need to sign it in. But mine is already signed in, and you can see my name is Osego Tech here. Then you need to select the organization. So it's the default organization is Osego Tech. It is your own account. Then other repositories, you need to click the repository that you need to deploy. Now, remember our repo name was YouTube vid, so you can search YouTube vid. Then once you see it there, click YouTube vid, then select the branch. Our branch is the main branch. That's the only branch I have, of course. Then leave everything as it is. Then you can now preview the file, the YAML file that will be used to deploy your application. Once you review everything here, the steps, the jobs, like the trigger is on push the main branch, the jobs is first will build, and the steps to build are these ones: install, run, build, everything there. Then it will deploy now your application. The steps for deploying you set there, and then that is all that you need. Then just close it. Then now save your workflow file. Now you can see here it's setting up deployment. So be patient because good things are coming to us, those who wait. So you have to wait, and we hope this one will work. It's something that a number of times you'll get fails. So we just hope it works. So setting up deployment. Now, setting up deployment is complete, and you can see uh, we now have the logs. The logs will show you the progress of your deployment. Now, if you go back to your repository, you should be able to see some actions running. If I click on actions, you see we have an action running here. You can click and see the progress of that action. Now, our build is complete. Now, we want to check on the deploy. Now, in the deploy, here is where we have problems. So I just hope this one will work for us because it should work. We waited for long, expecting good things to come to us. So please, you have to work. Now, that's that by the way. Mhm. So here's where you will see your progress. The moment you see anything red, this checkbox red, you have to check where the problem is because automatically it will fail. So we hope it works. Amazing. So this is correct, 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 correct. Deployment now, deploying to Azure. That's the last step for our application. So let's see what will happen. Mhm. Usually, if this runs, you are sure that your application will be up and running. We need to see some greens. We need to see some greens. So it seems like our patience is going to pay. Deploying to Azure Web App. Okay, amazing. Uh-huh. Amazing. So as you can see, everything is complete from the build to deploy. So it was built, then deployed. That is it. So coming back here, if you refresh, you will see success. Now I can just come back to settings and back to logs. Now what do you see here? Success. So it means like our application has been successfully deployed. Now you can go back to overview here. Hmm. Remember I told you you have to wait. Coming back to overview, when we visit a tutorial video Azure websites URL, we should be able to see the same message that we got from the server, which was let's see, it was hello from the server end. But before we do that, remember our application has environmental variables, which is the port number and the Mongo URI key. So we need to transfer this to our application on Azure. Sorry. Okay. So coming back to your overview, under settings on the left pane here, click on environmental variables. Here's where now you add your sensitive keys like database URI. If you have DWT secret keys, add them here. If you have expires in things like database URLs, add the port numbers, add them here. So just click on add. Click on add, and the first thing you want to add is the port number. So I'll copy that, go back here. Then the name is the port number. Then the value, you remember, it's 8080. Then apply. Then add another one, which is the Mongo URI. So I'll come back to the squad, copy this, copy, back to Azure, Mongo URI. Then the value, I can't master that of head. I'll come here and copy the value. Copy that. Come back to Azure and paste that value here. Then once it's there, I think I copied the wrong value. Yeah, I copied the wrong value. It should be all the way from here. Then copy. Then come back to your Azure portal and replace. That is it now. Then apply. Once you've added all your environmental keys and values, the next thing you want to do is to apply your changes. Then confirm. So this will reset your app service again. So you can see updating, then successfully detected app settings. That should be great. Now, when we visit now the URL, you can go back to overview once more. Go back to overview. Then now we want to try and visit the URL now. Click on the URL. We want to see what we have. We should get the same message that we got when we ran our application locally. So it should be loading now. Give it time. Give it time. Of course, this is the first load. Aha, amazing. Now let me zoom in. Let me zoom in. What do we have? Hello from the server end. And what's our URL? https tutorialvideo.azurewebsites.net. Now, that is it. Of course, we have an endpoint that we can try. Let's see, what endpoint do we have here? Server. We have this API endpoint to find posts. So I'll copy this, copy, then back to our browser, append it to the URL we already have here. So this is a get method. So if I click on it, it should fetch all the posts that we have. Of course, we only had one post by far. So press enter. Amazing, you see, we have information being sent back from the server. Status success data. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Web consists of billions of clients and staff. Then total count is 1. So that is how you deploy your application to Azure, especially your web application to Azure. So what else do we need to do here? So the good thing about this is that since we've connected our application to GitHub as our source of code, now every time, remember in our steps we had, actually I can just show you. In our steps we had the steps and the triggers. So going back, going back real quick to our actions here. If you click on this workflow configuration, then we have, what do we have? We have this YAML file here. This is where we had our scripts. Now you can see the trigger will be on push. Every time you push something to your main branch, the workflow will be spiked. So it will start running the jobs. It will build, then deploy, okay? So this is helpful in that every time you make changes to your application, push to GitHub on the main branch, your application will be automatically deployed and syncing with your latest changes. Now it's something like we call it something like CI/CD, continuous integration and continuous deployment using GitHub Actions. Even if you work on a different branch, let's say you have a new feature branch somewhere, and then you are push the branch to the repository, then you open a PR. If the PR is merged to main branch, it will run again this workflow and deploy your latest changes to the live link. Okay. Now, usually that is okay, but in some cases you'll need to maybe have a staging environment, a development environment. Now, when you push, maybe you want to push to staging or production or dev. Now, there's something we call deployment slots here. Now, this is a video for another day. I'll show you how you can swap slots. You have different slots, for example, production slot, development slot, and staging slot. So once your staging code is ready, tested and stuff, you can swap it with the production slot so that you have your uh, latest code on the production slot, and then that will take effect now. Okay, basically there's a lot to this deployment slots. That is a bit for another day. So guys, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.
So thank you guys for watching the video till the end. I hope you enjoyed the video, and at least now you know how you can actually get to move your application from your machine or what we call local host all the way to cloud so that it can be accessible just by a click of a link. Now, that was all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and love the content. And if you do, kindly like, subscribe, comment, then I think you should share this video to your friends so that we can all have our applications accessible from the cloud. So thank you for watching, guys. Bye until next time. Osego Codes signing out.